What's up, everybody? Welcome. Today, you're going to learn how to fix your uneven hips. All right, well, let's get right to it. So, first you need to know what uneven hips are. Uneven hips are an unlevelness of the hips side to side where one hip appears to be higher than another. That unevenness occurs when you're standing. It can occur when you're squatting down. It can occur in any position. Some chiropractors diagnose you with uneven hips by you laying on your stomach and your back and seeing if those hips are uneven. So, how they can contribute to issues? Well, let's take a look here. For example, if her right hip was high like this causes issues such as joint compression on the right-hand side, SI joint compression on the right-hand side. It causes issues like, it causes the disc to bulge out the opposite side, and which can lead to things like sciatica here, long-term stenosis here. And I'm only talking about the pain and problems that can come in just the low back. Uneven hips affect everything down the chain from the foot to the knee, to the hip, to the shoulder, to the neck. And I'm going to help you understand some of that today. So let's investigate the root cause. Some of you actually have one leg that's longer than the other from the factory. And most of you have more imbalances that exist in your core that can cause your hips to appear to be uneven. One significant one is scoliosis, because scoliosis is excessive lateral curvature of the spine, which almost always, I want to say always, results in uneven hips and uneven shoulders. So if you have uneven hips, you may have some sort of maybe a degree of scoliosis, or maybe you have excessive curvature, or just maybe a little more than the normal amount of curvature of your spine. But what I want to do first is help you test to see if you actually have one leg that's longer than the other one from the factory. And all you're going to need from this one is somebody else, a partner, and a tape measure. What you're going to do is take it in centimeters, and you're going to find the bump right here. It's called the ASIS, this bump in the front. Okay? And what you want to do is put the tape measure on the lowest part of the ASIS. Okay? And then you want to stretch it out all the way to right here. This is called your medial malleolus. You want to go right on the top of it and take one measurement. So that's going to be 93.5. And then you switch sides. And you're going to do each side 3 times. And you're going to see if they line up. She's got about 93.7 there. So it appears to be maybe a little longer on the right side. And we take 3 measurements. 1, 2, 3. And you want to balance them off. That's a pretty damn accurate test to see if you actually have one leg longer than the other one from the factory. If they're the same and you still have uneven hips, well, you know that the person measuring it could have fucked up, or that your misalignment could be coming from a core imbalance. Now that you had your leg measured, maybe you didn't have somebody measure. The other way to test if you have uneven hips is just to look at yourself in a mirror right in front of you. Then stand, look at your hips. Do you have one hip that appears higher than another one? A great way to do it is take your posture photo from the back and take a look at your hips. We have a free posture assessment tool on MoveU. You'll see the link down below in the description where you can upload your image and it'll draw lines on there for you. So go do that. Because the more you know about your body, the more you're going to understand. And so then even take a squat down, maybe have somebody look at you, or take a photo of you in the back and see if you have one hip higher than another one. So for example, if your legs are equal length, but you're uneven here, it's likely you have a core imbalance or an imbalance in musculature that's creating that misalignment. And so the most common areas that cause the misalignment are this. Number 1, it's going to be a collapsed ankle inward, which causes the knee to roll inward and buckle. And what that does, it breaks the straight line and it causes the hip to appear lower than the other one. This is quite possibly the number 1 cause of an imbalance that's causing this hip unleveling or misalignment. And I'll show you a couple exercises after to do that. Number 2, there's a test called Trendelenburg's gait. And basically it is one of your glute mediuses over here could be weaker or stronger than another one. To test, all you're gonna do is balance on one leg, bring your knee to 90 degrees, hold that right there, and go ahead and switch sides. And if you look at yourself in a mirror and this hip and your hip drop down, if this hip drops down low, it means that the glute medius on this side is weak and can be contributing to that hip unleveling misalignment. So there's some tools that can help you test to whether being more aligned will feel better. Some of the most common ones are adding heel lifts. Now, I would only consider a heel lift if you have one leg that's anatomically longer than another one. Let's say, for example, Kaylin's, her left leg was shorter than the right by, let's call it 10 millimeters. So let's say one of these are heel lifts, there are cork lifts. Let's say this is 10 millimeters, which it isn't. What you could do is put that 10 millimeter lift inside your shoe, okay? Retake your photos, look at yourself, squat, walk around with it. That will help compensate for the difference of the leg, because there's no surgery yet for this. There is, it's gnarly. You'll chop your whole fucking leg off, you put a spacer in there and you go, that's it. I don't recommend that shit for anybody. Anyways, other things, even without the lift, let's say this leg was a little bit shorter. There's these wedges, these are great, they're called Naboso. These are wedges, what you can do is you could train with these underneath the short leg. So exactly, you could do squats with these, standing shoulder presses with these, hip hinges with these. So this is all designed to give you the feeling of being aligned. So tools, there's crazy tools. I've run into people that have a 2-inch difference in hip, where this thing right here, this is actually pretty cool. If you have a significant leg length difference, basically if you break your leg and you gotta wear a boot, this goes on the leg, so your legs don't get fucked up from wearing the boot. But I've had people who have 2-inch difference where this doesn't even cover the difference of leg length. So you could take the pieces out of here. And what you could do is you could buy something like this and you could put it inside of your, put your shoe over it. Oh God, this is not. You get the freaking point. You can train with something like that on to feel the difference. Now, here's the thing about uneven hips, and I've thought about this and I've worked with thousands of patients over the years. It really doesn't matter if it's anatomical or if it's functional, because your body still needs to move back into better alignment to feel better. And that means, for example, if Kaylin was, again, short over here, even if she used the lift, these muscles are still long and weak. These muscles still need the strength. They still need more tone. The glute medius over here still needs strengthened. This foot still needs strengthened in order to move her close to being back into alignment. Will she ever be in alignment? No, because anatomically the leg is longer. However, moving, constantly strengthening, activating, stretching the tight side, strengthening the weak side, what that's going to do is going to constantly be keeping her close to being in alignment. And the main point is so you can feel better, right? So you can feel better, feel more aligned, feel more confident in your body. So the exercises I'm going to show you are going to be great whether you have anatomical difference or you have a functional difference. So let's go over right now. There's 3 programs that I recommend that you practice and train to find better alignment of your hip to create that alignment. The knee, ankle, and foot program is going to help you with that rolled in foot. Hip and glute program, back and core. I'm going to give you one exercise from each of them. Good toss. So the first exercise is out of the knee, ankle, and foot program, and this is going to help you create better foot and ankle alignment, which is going to bring up the low hip. So, for example, if you're collapsed inward like most of you are that have an issue with your hips, this exercise, you're actually going to focus on pushing the ankle outwards, right? Lifting the arch under the foot, squeezing the arch under the foot while you're pushing the ankle outwards. You could use a band with this one. You're really focusing on the arch grip and pushing out, feeling the muscles in the leg. What she's doing is a little extra thing where she's also rotating the thigh outward, which is going to create a straighter knee, and it's going to create a straighter line, which is going to lift that hip up. So that's the first exercise. The second one, this is out of the hip and glute program, which is the second program I recommend that you go through to find better alignment. These are called hip hikes. Now, check this out. In her case, with her hip, her left hip is low, okay? And now this is counterintuitive, but this glute medius right here, this side glute muscle is the muscle that whenever it squeezes, pulls the opposite hip up. So by strengthening this muscle over here, notice she's training this hip, training the hip to actively lift up by strengthening this muscle, which is going to move her to a more aligned state. Last exercise we're going to go over today is out of week 4 of our back and core program. These are lateral hip hikes. So Kev, come on all the way up here on this one. This is her high hip side. So what she's going to do is on the low hip side, focus on laterally tilting the hip up, holding the contraction. This one is focusing more on the QL in the back, the erector, maybe a little hip flexor, really holding that up, because this muscle right here currently is in this long, lazy, relaxed state of being. Now, contraction, getting straight, and there's so many variations of this. You could draw this hip up, now laterally tilt this up. So many different variations to do to get activation and strength over here. We're not gonna go over it today, but you can also find benefit by stretching or mobilizing the opposite side. So those are just 3 exercises to do to help find more alignment in your hips. And remember, whether you have anatomically, a leg length that's anatomically short or one that's functional, it's the same type of movements to pull you back into alignment with or without the actual lift component in there. And if you start wearing a lift, look, some people go, do I have to wear it forever? You could choose to fucking throw it in the garbage can tomorrow. No one's making you keep it in there. The only thing that you have to do for the rest of your life is if somebody puts rods or bolts in your back for surgery, then they're in there for the rest of the fucking life. Everything else, if you don't like it, you can throw it out the fucking window. So with the lift, you can experiment with the lift, but definitely learn your uneven side. Use your muscles to strengthen and to pull your body back into better alignment. And that's called joint centration. It's this optimal, ideal, balanced, aligned position of your joints, of your hip joints, of your back joints. And that aligned position is like the holy grail of alignment, of feeling, of muscle balance, of control, of confidence, of less pain. Pain is just such a slow run. Once you get past it, the sky's the limit. And so the ultimate goal isn't just to stretch something, go, how many reps? The ultimate goal is to gain awareness and control of the muscles that pull you into alignment, and to be aware of your own body and the negative tendencies, the bad habits your body tends to fall into, and know how to get yourself out of those things naturally with your own mind and your own muscles. So that's how to fix, it's really how to understand your hip alignment and how to fix your hip alignment for good.